All right, good morning. Thank you so much for joining us here at the headquarters in the middle of all of our toll roads right here in Orange County. This is a day we wish would never come, where we're giving warnings about a fraud and a scam related to our toll roads and specifically SunPass. But it's also a great time to recognize the hard-working public servants here in Florida and the successes we're seeing as a result of a new initiative that we started since I became the Attorney General. So thank you for everyone that has shown up today to help us highlight this. And I also want to thank members of the cyber fraud enforcement team behind me, as well as our Deputy Commissioner Pollard and our Secretary of Transportation, Mr. Perdue, is also with us. Florida is particularly susceptible to the emerging threat of targeting drivers across the nation with these scams, toll scams, because we have more than 700 miles in Florida that use toll roads. And I want to highlight that we are in Orange County right now. Orange County has alone, remember we have 67 counties in the state of Florida. Orange County has 160 of those 700 miles. So this is the hotbed for toll roads in the state of Florida. Certainly no surprise, considering this is one of our tourist hubs and sees a lot of activity here in the state of Florida. But these toll roads are necessary to help our 22 million residents and our 130 million visitors every year get to where they need to go safely and on time. And with so much traffic and so much toll activity, scammers are now targeting drivers that use these toll roads with fake toll bills. And how they get to these drivers is they send mass batches of text messages that are scams, that are fakes, purporting to be from our Department of Transportation, from SunPass, from other toll organizations, and they send these scam messages directly to your cell phone. This is a technique that's called smishing, and we see this with other types of scams. We've warned about this a lot. One of my goals as Attorney General is to stay ahead of these trends, make sure we're warning Floridians before they fall victim, because as you know, many of these fraudsters, these criminals, are off the shores of the United States, which makes it difficult to get to them. So we need Floridians to remain up on all of the trends we're seeing in terms of scams. So this smishing involves faked text messages, and they're designed to do three things. They divert funds from a legitimate source, like the Department of Transportation or SunPass organization, to a criminal. It's also designed to steal your personal information, your financial information, your credit card information, your name, and other very sensitive personal information. And sometimes these fake text messages can be used once you click on a link to install malware on your phone. About a month ago, the FBI issued a warning on toll smishing, and it received over 2,000 complaints that drivers had received text messages and had fallen victim to these fake text messages asking for immediate payment because of something that was due based on a toll. About the same time, our cyber fraud enforcement unit got a hold of one of these messages and sprang into action. That team, along with FDLE, who have been working closely together since we secured the funding from the legislature to stay on top of cyber fraud and theft, they kicked into high gear and shut down over 10 websites that were designed to trick you in these smishing scams to click on a link and pay or give financial information or personal information. The legitimate website for the SunPass is www.sunpass.com. The young people in my office tell me I don't need to say www anymore. Sunpass.com. That's the legitimate website. And I just want to take a moment and read off for you some of the fake links that were given to trick end users of these cell phones. Sunpass-service.com, sunpass-help.com, sunpass-online.com, sunpass-florida.com, sunpass-toll.com, sunpass-tolls.com, sunpass-express.com. I can go on and on. And you see how closely it mirrors the legitimate website, which is why we're always making sure that Floridians are confirming and checking websites before they go on and make payments or give over financial information. The more technical our society becomes, the more our economy relies on technology, we have to make sure that we are pushing out ways to keep Floridians safe. And so confirming these websites, because scammers have gotten so sophisticated, they'll change one letter. They'll design it to make sure it looks like a legitimate company. You have to confirm websites. So you see what these scammers were doing and how they were tricking end users on the phone to go on and make payments or give over information. The best way to stop these scams is to make sure Floridians are armed with the information and don't click on those links. If you click on these links for a fake SunPass or fake EasyPass or fake FDOT, and you give over financial information, they can quickly get a hold of use your credit card or information to cause further damage and further loss to the unsuspecting victims. So independently confirm the source of a message by using the contact information on the official website. And I've already verified with Secretary Perdue, sunpass.com is the legitimate website. Regularly check your online toll account. That will add an additional layer of protection. Floridians can report if they fall victim to a phishing scam or one of these text messages scams. We now have a report a cybercrime website at FDLE. So this is an easy place you can go to report it, and it'll gauge this cybercrime team right behind you. You can also report to local law enforcement or the FBI, but you can now report directly to FDLE. This smishing has been around for a long, long time. This is just a new trick taking an old scam, and it is really taking hold here in Florida. So I'm so proud of my team behind me. They have shut down these websites. They did that quickly. But as you know, as soon as we stay on top of these things, scammers change the game on us. So Floridians have to be aware, and the mobile use for these smishing scams is becoming more and more common. We used to talk about phishing with email accounts, but now that Americans are using text messages more and more to communicate, the scammers know this, and this is how they're pushing their scams. Mobile phone users in the United States alone send nearly 6 billion messages a day. On average, a smartphone user will send or receive 32 messages a day. We open and respond to them at a quicker rate than we do using our emails, and we also often protect our phones less than we do our computers that we check emails on. And so this is becoming more and more an increasing problem for Floridians to protect their identities, their personal information, and their bank accounts. So there are a few reasons why we need to use extra scrutiny when we receive suspicious text messages. And this is one example of the damage that can be done if there is a believable message out there and people get nervous. So if you see a text message that comes across and within it creates a sense of urgency, pay now, verify your account as soon as possible, make sure you contact by clicking here our customer service representative as soon as possible. If you see one of these text messages that creates a sense of urgency, that is the oldest trick in the book for scammers. Do not click on that text message. Let me end by saying, just as there is a do not call list for robocalls, you can go on that do not call list and register your phone number now to protect against these mass text messages. And I'll remind folks that they can go to donotcall.gov to register your phone number. If you do receive a suspicious spam-looking text message, they want you to immediately forward that to the FCC, and you can do that by forwarding it to 7726, and that says spam on your phone. Very creative. 7726. So again, register your phone number and be aware of this scam. That will help Floridians protect themselves from these scammers that are targeting unsuspecting drivers on our toll roads. And as you know, Florida is in the middle of a wave of success. We are attracting more residents every single day because of how we have been successful and ingenuitive and leading within the state of Florida. Because of that, we have a lot more unsuspecting toll drivers here in the state of Florida now, and we need them to be aware that they are the most recent target of a very sophisticated scam. I'm going to go ahead at this point and turn it over to our Deputy Commissioner with FDLE, Deputy Commissioner Pollard. Come on up.
Thank you, General Moody. When FDLE began this investigation, the scam was ongoing. New victims were being targeted, and our citizens were actively going to these fraudulent websites to pay what they thought they owed. Cases involving ongoing victimization require swift action by our team with well-trained law enforcement officers and agents and analysts. And thanks to Attorney General Ashley Moody, FDLE has the resources and the expertise to do exactly what was done in this case. Under her leadership, FDLE established the Cyber Fraud Enforcement Unit in our Tampa Bay office. As online scams are becoming more and more prevalent, it is critical that Florida law enforcement is prepared and is ahead of the game. We all know here in this room that we live in the digital age. The vision of the Attorney General is very clear, and thanks to her vision and the leadership in this, we were able to get in front of something that could have been far worse for our citizens. In this particular case, our agents and analysts say there could have been hundreds of victims in Florida who received a text message saying they owed $3.95 to SunPass. They were given a link to a fraudulent SunPass website to pay the invoice. In the investigation, we identified 10 fake websites built by the criminals as part of this scam. Once this fraudulent website was discovered, agents and analysts began to immediate process of obtaining a court-authorized search and seizure warrant. Within 24 hours, FDLE was able to gain control of the scam site and post a splash page advising potential victims the websites were fraudulent. You may think that $3.95 isn't a lot of money, and while that may be true for some, these criminals now have obtained debit and criminal card, or potentially obtained debit and credit card information from unsuspecting victims. Anyone who thinks that they may be a victim, or if you think that you may have mistakenly clicked onto this link and it's taking you somewhere and you're not sure, please make sure that you are monitoring the credit bureau reports. Take a look at your finances, look at your credit card statements, be very vigilant. These types of cases, like I said, it's the digital age. Daily, this type of activity goes on. So just keep that in mind. Please go in, check your finances, make sure you don't see anything suspicious or unusual. And unfortunately, these types of scams are becoming more common. Often fraudulent texts and websites containing spelling or punctuation errors. That's a telltale sign that something's not right. Like for instance, just like General Moody said, it looks like a legitimate website for SunPass, but if you really look into it, you will find misspellings. You'll see things that are not correct or are unusual. Just make sure that you look at that. But the best advice, just like General Moody said, is you're receiving a text telling you to click onto a link, to follow that link to go pay a bill. Don't do it. Go directly to the website or to your banking statement or whatever it is that claims that there's a bill, and verify it through the bona fide website that you know of. Now, we know right now that this particular criminal organization is perpetrating similar scams across the country. FDLE agents and analysts, they continue to work with our local and state and federal law enforcement partners to fight this type of criminal activity. We are fortunate that here in Florida, FDLE has the resources and expertise to keep up with the emerging scams and to quickly take action in scams that are being perpetrated on our citizens every day. Thank you again, Attorney General Moody, for your commitment to public safety and making sure that FDLE has what it needs to protect our citizens. Excuse me.
Thank you so much, Attorney General Moody, for all you do to protect Floridians, and thank you to our great partners at FDLE for continuing to work to keep Floridians safe from crime every single day. We truly have an important mission here in Florida, and we collaborate and work together to achieve that mission day in and day out. The safety and security of our customers here at FDOT is paramount, and as soon as we became aware of this scam in which criminals were trying to impersonate our SunPass service, we immediately began outreach to alert our customers and spread the word of this threat. Thankfully, Attorney General Moody and her team and FDLE saw the sense of urgency and came out in full force by obtaining warrants to shut down this criminal activity. This swift action in seizing the phony look-alike websites was critical in keeping the personal and financial data of those targeted safe and secure. I also want to thank Governor DeSantis for his leadership and responsiveness on this issue. His office has been engaged since the first scam texts were reported, and we're grateful for their support to halt these criminal actions. The governor's focus on Florida's infrastructure has enabled us to have the premier tolling infrastructure in the country, and SunPass is the most interoperable device nationwide with compatibility in over 22 different states. FDOT is committed to making the safety and security of our 11 million SunPass customers a top priority, and will continue to make strategic investments and build strong partnerships that help provide the best service possible to our customers. For our customers, please remember we will never ask for immediate payments or urgent actions via text. If you're ever in doubt, please contact SunPass directly at sunpass.com, as Attorney General Moody mentioned. Do not use the contact information that you're given in a potential scam through text message. For the criminals out there, in Florida, under Governor DeSantis' and Attorney General Moody's leadership, if you commit a crime, you will be punished to the full extent of the law and will be held accountable for these fraudulent actions. I truly appreciate the hard work of our Turnpike Enterprise team, who work relentlessly to serve the community of Florida. And thank you again, Attorney General Moody, for your leadership, and to your team for taking this matter seriously and for your fast response. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Secretary. As you saw, we had about 10 websites that were a play on SunPass in some way. Although this also implicated EasyPass. And those websites have been shut down. And so, as we say in Florida, we will cancel criminals and work very hard and fast to do so. No problem with that. I'd be happy to take or open it up to those that are here with me to take any questions you might have at this time. Yes, ma'am.
Hi, Catherine Silver with News 6. You've shut down 10 of these websites. How many more like them do you think there are?
Well, in terms of this specific scam, we're constantly monitoring and we're always seeking the public's help. If they get something like this, they can go to the FDLE website, report cyber fraud or cyber crime, and let us know. Obviously, we're aware of this now. We've shut down the ones we know about. As we receive others, we will do that quickly. My lawyers here are with me today, but as soon as they leave here, they're right back at the game and working with FDLE. So we feel good that we've shut down the majority of these. Again, the reason we're here is to praise the efforts of these great folks behind me, but to also warn Floridians. Sunpass.com is the legitimate website. You will not see one of these things coming from Florida Department of Transportation asking for immediate payment through smishing text messages. That's just not going to happen. And so, again, I will say again how I started, and this is by thanking those of you with us, helping us get this word out to Floridians. A warning has no effect unless people can see that, and you're helping us do that. Any other questions?
I think it was said that hundreds of people were impacted in this most recent one, and I know they were looking for $3-something, but any idea, have those people had their credit cards used? Do you know how much loss for those?
Well, to be clear, when we say that, and we have an example of an actual text message that went out, $395 is not the amount that they're seeking. That is a trick to get you to, it's a small payment. Let me just take care of this right now. Click on the link. They're just getting your financial information so they can create greater loss. Certainly, we encourage consumers who feel they may have fallen prey to this scam to go and monitor your credit website. And you can use the credit reporting agencies to help you do that. Call your credit card. It's not $395. The result will be whatever the fraudsters use your credit cards for. And oftentimes we find credit card information when we're doing other investigations sitting in the, dark web, or sitting, out there, these batches of personal information that criminals sell to one another is a result often from, this is just one scam of many that they use to get to folks and get their personal information. So it's important to, if you did fall prey, it's important to monitor your credit. It might not hit now, it could hit in the future when your information is sold, and so you want to make sure that you're staying on top of those reports. Any other questions? All right, well, thank you again for joining us today. Thanks so much.